Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brown Box. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harsch.
And I'm Chris LeRoy.
And on Brown Box, we each bring in a different record that we really enjoy and that we want to kind of hype and talk about and maybe expose some people to. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
I like that concept.
Absolutely.
And we also have a brown box. It's symbolic.
It looks a little familiar, but it's a lot of things. So let's go in the box. You want to go with what my selection is first?
Let's see.
All right. So I
dare
brought,
you. Uh-oh.
Yes, I was right. So I brought Captain Beefheart and his magic band and a little something called Trout Mask Replica. So let me tell you. So I didn't always have I found this when I was I think it was 16. So it's kind of nice later on in life when you become an older record collector. You can go back to some of these things that you really maybe got on CD at the time, and then you can bring them back into your life. This particular one, I remember I had moved to Redlands, and I was starting 11th grade. And you know how it is when you just start, you move to somewhere new and you're in a brand new environment, and it's not always something, not everyone knows you, but they've all known each other for years.
Yeah.
And so I had a class assignment for English, and it was like we had to make a visual or auditory, I forgot the exact specifics, but we had to make some kind of a visual or auditory representation of something we read.
Okay.
So, I had a lot of music at home, so I went home and I made a tape, pretty much like, when the Beatles would make the abstract compositions and they'd string stuff together.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I recorded the end of Strawberry Fields, and I recorded nature sounds, and I kind of made it on a loop on a tape.
Wow. And
I had them playing while I was telling a narrative. And if you didn't think I had any friends when I moved to Redlands for the first time, watch what happened after I played that tape, because I don't think anyone wanted to come near me, right? But the next day, somebody in that class came up to me and he handed me a stack of CDs, and he said, "You got to listen to these."
Wow.
Yesterday, because it was just kind of
breakthrough.
So I mean, I'm not gonna get into all of what he gave me, because honestly, all of those were super formative to going forward to what I would listen to from then on. Wow. It was just all of them. And so I don't want to talk about all of them, but this was one of them. Wow. And so the story is with this album is Captain Beefheart recorded this in late '68, released it in 1969. He was a childhood friends of Frank Zappa, so they grew up together. Obviously, this was produced by Zappa, but produced is very loosely used here, because this band had recorded the album for about 9 months straight, while more or less he was keeping them captive in a house. And so, I mean, there's a whole story to this that we can definitely get into. We will not. Just know that it's the first time I listened to it, I didn't really like it. It was very, and anyone who listens to it for the first time, it's going to be very hard for you to digest it, because there's a lot going on. Everyone's playing the different time signature. There's different types of music, basically clashing against each other. So you have blues, you have free jazz, you have rock. Just this big melting pot of things happening all at the same time. And then you have this guy, singing over it. When they recorded it, he was singing over tracks that were leaking through the sound booth.
Yeah.
He didn't like earphones, because apparently he had an incident where he put an earphone on in the studio, and he had some big squall of feedback, and it almost blew out his eardrum. So he did not
Was that a lo-fi studio?
Yeah, probably, right? Yeah, it could have been. Maria, hello. So anyway, so from then on, so he would just listen to the bleed through from the control room of the music and attempt to sing over it, and attempt to play. He had someone playing clarinet, but attempt to play a saxophone, which he wasn't a sax player.
No.
But anyway, it's 2 LPs. It's 80 minutes, 20 something songs. Now, the more I listen to it, it just became one of my favorite records, just because it is so out there and it's so different, and no one has done anything like it since. And they probably never will. And some people are still trying to maybe figure out what it is. What's your relationship with it, if you have one at all?
Oh no, it was sort of similar. I mean, I certainly knew about Frank Zappa and then about Captain Beefheart through that. You know, I knew that they were compatriots. Maybe it heard "Safe as Milk" or something
Mm-hmm.
before. Well, there's a little more form,
Yeah.
a little bluesier, but there's a book called Stranded. I think you like Stranded on a Desert Island.
Right. Right.
And the different authors. I think Girl Marcus edited it, and people pick like the album they would be on their desert island disc.
Right.
Well, and it was the only album they could have, and so some of the things make sense. But what, the best essay in the whole thing is the person who chooses this album. And the reasons they have is just, well, it's a double album, and there's lots of songs, and so you'll have a lot of time on your hands, and you could, you know, sort through these songs and have ongoing greatest hits, or you know, what's the top of the pops, and you just go through all these different things. It's a music that grows on you.
It does.
And
like a fungus.
It certainly does. And I would listen to, you know, back then, you know, I would listen to music for an extended time, and I have it on my little, you know, little vinyl machine there, and would listen to it, and I would always just go back and just start again when I would be writing and thinking. And this, and probably Jimi Hendrix Are You Experienced album, the two pieces of music that I listened to the most.
Wow.
Jimi Hendrix being an obvious choice,
right?
This being the less obvious choice, because I was surprised that I got into it so deeply and could start, you know, singing along with him, and started getting these stories, and you realize he has this dense poetry.
Yes, that's what it is.
And it is actually solvable, and you start to hear these stories emerge, and there's a great beauty in his language.
There is.
And what would seem like a cacophony of sound ends up making sense, just like you make sense of the words, you start to make sense of this sound, and it just sounds like a normal album to me.
And there's a clip on YouTube of Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, and it's about a minute long, but he talks about this album, and his experience is the same as everyone else's. Like, you get it and you don't like it at first, but he says what did it for him is when he started to understand that they were playing this way on purpose. Like, they were, and these guys were not bad musicians.
No,
I mean, they were like, I mean, even like your free jazz artists, like, people think they are just playing bad. They are all like highly trained. So it's definitely a discipline. But yeah, I mean, what he said in that clip really, like, it just said, it makes complete sense, because they are playing that way on purpose. They're highly disciplined, and they're meaning it to sound that way. And then they're also breaking these barriers through what they're doing. It's
a very free music, and in some ways, if you haven't listened to jazz music, you say, here's a whole genre of stuff that you somehow just not come into your life. At the beginning, it seems a little formless, or it seems like, and even though there's intense form, you go back all the way to Louis Armstrong, these are songs with form, but even Louis Armstrong had this freedom to jump through that music, and he would play rhythmically something so challenging over that music. And sometimes I listen to Louis Armstrong and hear how he's cutting across this music in this very, very free thing. I go, this is the same as Anthony Braxton. This is the same as all these free players.
Coleman.
This is the same as that. That there's a language that's cutting through. There's a sound of music, and there's these pathways in this music. It's just a fantastic album. And you know, again, it's one of these things you like, for the students who saw you when you were doing that presentation, if you had handed out an album to each one of those people, still it'd only be that one guy that would come back and bring you the CD.
And I don't even like know who that guy is. You know what I mean? It's like he could have been, he just walk on the set, and then it's like he's gone. You know?
Really?
But no, I think I mean, like, I don't talk to him to this day, but I know he went on to like an Ivy League school. He's like very, very intelligent. But you know, the music he gave me was like, I can draw a line between that day and like everything that came before it, and then everything that came after, and it kind of like what I listened to. And like this for sure. If you were to listen to this for the first time, probably like recommend. It's great that it's 4 sides, you know, or, you know, like, if you can listen to it on a record, please do. Because it's best to listen to like maybe just as pieces if you're just starting out. If you have a party at your house and you want to get rid of everybody, you could definitely put this on too. That'll work in both instances. Then you can just stay and listen to it and enjoy it.
Along that line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to clear the house, but it's another kind of like the Dylan book that we talked about earlier.
Right.
Is a great compendium or a great partner for the basement tapes. There's a wonderful 33 and a third
Yes.
book. It's a very, very personal take
Mm-hmm.
about this album, and it kind of follows the same pattern.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting the way he inherits the first version of that album.
Yes.
But that's another. That would be another guide. If you
Mhm.
were going to have a neat guide through this album, that would be a great book.
It's essential.
Yeah, to look through and just see how other people have experienced it, because it's one of the best albums ever made.
I think it is.
And
You may call me crazy for saying that.
You may be
but
crazy.
Hey,
that makes two of us. But
yeah,
it's
right.
it's one of my favorite albums.
excellent. I'm glad you like it too.
Yeah.